Hola, and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including DuckTales, which we'll be getting into right now. I'm your host, Alex Bonilla, and today I'm joined by Steve Zec.
Hello.
Today we will be discussing the latest two episodes of DuckTales that have aired on Disney, The Other Bin of Scrooge McDuck, and Sky Pirates in the Sky. If you want to catch up on previous DuckTales discussion that we've had here on the podcast, you can always look that up on overlyanimated.com. You can also subscribe to our feeds on iTunes at overlyanimated.com/iTunes, on YouTube at overlyanimated.com/YouTube, or on your preferred podcatcher. And wherever you listen to us, we always appreciate any ratings or reviews you want to leave us. But we'll be getting right into this. I'd say that in particular, The Other Bin of Scrooge McDuck was a culmination of many things. Well, I guess a big plot line that we've been following lately in DuckTales. So, Steve, let's get just your general thoughts. We'll hold off the pirates for later, but like just on the Other Bin episode, what are your general thoughts on how the episode went down?
Oh, it was great. It kind of, in a way, it kind of wraps up the whole Lena arc and where she was going, whose side she was going to be on. So she sort of made her choice, and we know where she'll stand when we get to the finale. Yeah, it's fun. I love how big fangirl Webby is of Scrooge. And despite how toxic Lena and Magica's relationship is, you do see at glimpses of how they can be related, how they can have these little bondings, like how they're both bored at Webby's Scrooge lectures. So I can relate with Webby though with Scrooge lectures. I could do the same thing with Donald, do a whole bunch of Donald Duck lectures about stuff and just bore people. But yeah, I loved it, and the B plot was okay. About time Louis actually gets to do stuff. He's kind of gets thrown to the background a little bit. It's been very Dewey centric, and I just love though how he just he owned the Bigfoot character. He needed that after the whole doofus disaster, so good for him.
you count this as a redemption arc for Huey or for
Louis?
For Louis?
Well, in a way though, it shows though he is like his uncle, because because he has this devilish side. Because I know in old days, Donald has this devilish side to him sometimes. He has sometimes this devil Donald on his shoulder that gives him bad advice. And it's a similar callback here.
Yeah, I think that's just Louis' entire character at this point. He just always seems to be like that. Actually, I think that the Bigfoot B plot, it has its moments of being jokey, even if the twist is at the time of watching it, infuriated me, because the whole somebody's conning, but they don't believe me because I usually do the conning thing. That kind of annoys me. But it was a funny joke anyway, to have a Bigfoot just have a surfer bro voice, hey dude.
Yeah, we've seen that before. Yeah, it's not original though. I've seen that in the new Powerpuff Girls, so I'm sure Dylan would appreciate that.
Yeah, so that's a common cartoon thing to do. As for the actual main story, I've been with you that Lena and Magic, that's been a story worth watching, because we want to see what Lena ends up doing in terms of making a decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this episode, it goes through Lena going along with Magica's plan. They go into the bin. And you have this whole sequence of Lena admitting that to Web, or at least revealing to Webby that she's been under Magica's spell, and Lena turns to the dark side supposedly, but then Lena turns back on Magica, and you get this very strong emotional sequence of Lena taking a side, but Webby gets thrown to the wayside. And then it turns out being a dream sequence, which is also another trope that annoys me very much.
Cop-out.
And it feels like a cop-out, because none of all of that build-up actually ended up meaning anything in the real world, except to tell you that Lena has come to the realization that that no, she cares more about Webby than her freedom. But like as soon as she comes to that realization, also we get Magica possessing Lena at the end.
Yeah.
So it's like Lena at the moment has no. She made her decision, but as soon as she made her decision, she is not allowed to act on that decision because she gets possessed. And this whole thing just reeks of a climax where it's just going to be like Lena is possessed doing things to Scrooge. She sees Webby at some point and like that activates Lena inside to like break free. Like it just smells very tropey because this entire episode was full of tropes. And so like, you try to convince me that isn't the way this show isn't going to go.
Well, I don't know. It might go that way, but the ride will be fun because I'm interested to see like next time we see Lena or Magica or Lenica, as I like to say. I kind of wonder
when have you ever said that? You have never used the word Lenica ever on this.
Well, like I said, that's just a callback to Gravity Falls. You know, Mabel named the Dipper possessed Bill, the Bill possessed Dipper Biffer, so it's a little influence. This show has some Gravity Falls influence, so I do like to think though maybe it'd be funny though if Webby like tells the others, you know, Lena's been acting kind of weird of late, and this is some funny gags of how different the Magica possessed Lena is. Like it seems Magica does not know Webby's name. I mean, that could be a problem.
Well, yeah, and we kind of set that up a little bit with also Lena being distracted by like not remembering the dates and things like that. So like that seems to be their relationship already. But more to the point, like this continues the trend of Webby being very distracted about things, and like she notices, hey, where did you get that dagger anyway? Oh, hey, look, a door. Like. So, like, we're continuing down this path of Webby not really wising up to Lena, and while that is her character, but at the same time, I kind of wish that Webby would be a little bit smarter. But also at the same time, if it was all a dream sequence, what am I supposed to believe?
Well, Webby does sort of redeem herself in the next episode and shows you how smart she can be. I want to talk about previews, but. It does seem, though, she is going to really be a big key in the defeat of Magica in the finale, and how she sort of is like the architect of how we're going to counter her. So her moment's coming. You just got to be patient.
I guess. I guess just this entire episode kind of soured me on like how they're going to handle this, because like you mentioned a phrase there, like the ride will be nice, but like I was enjoying the ride in this episode. I was enjoying seeing Magica destroy a marionette-ized version of Webby, like which I'm told is like her original design from the show. Yeah. But like that was a very fun sequence, and like it was like I wish they could have found another way to do that without just pulling it under you, pulling the rug out from you. Like no, none of that actually happened. Mm-hmm. So like I just wish there was another way to do it without recurring to that kind of easy way of just snapping your fingers and making it disappear.
Well, I do think though. I think though Magica is kind of going to be defeated in the finale. She's not going to really be a main force anymore. But I do kind of wonder though, is she going to survive? And I do kind of wonder Lena's future, her parental future, her guardian future. Like, who is going to be like raising her after Magica is like gone? Because I'm thinking, logically, she would probably maybe stay with Scrooge and the others in the mansion. But I don't think they want to make her a main character for that to happen. So you're gonna have to find another party to kind of take her in. Unless maybe her parent maybe is somewhere hidden, is prisoner in Magica's lair, and we'll find him or her, and she'll get her like parent back or something like that.
Yeah, like we're still very vague on like Lena wanting freedom, but like obviously she's a kid, so like I guess the show we shouldn't be expecting it to go into this, but like what exactly does she want freedom from besides just not being a puppet for Magica? But maybe that's enough motivation, right? Well, yeah, like just getting away from Magica, that's all she really wants, and like from there we'll figure something out.
And one bad negative thing though, this episode aired right after Comic-Con, and it sort of gave away some things, so it's not the same tension, not the same worry that, I know Lena's going to be okay at the end, so.
Oh, well, why did you spoil me? I didn't know that.
You think he's going to die?
Well, I mean, admittedly, my expectations have been lowered after this episode anyway of them going dark. But I mentioned in the past, like, it would be kind of cool if they ended up finally pushing off a character. It might end up being Magica in the end, like, because that's the classic thing to do.
She's a villain, though. It's not the same.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody had off, I don't know who would be. I think Gyro could be, like, if you want to do a good guy, just off.
Yeah, although Gyro hasn't really been important for a while.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you something about Magica, though. In that sequence, we finally get to see what the culmination of getting the dime would be, which in this case is it's depicted as Magica ripping herself off of Lena and becoming kind of a physical figure, separate from Lena. So, like, but because this is in a dream sequence, do we think that is actually what is going to happen if she has the dime, or is there other stuff involved?
Who knows? I think probably Magica was not forthcoming with what her plans were to Lena. She probably kept a few things hidden, so Magica has proven that she's not very trustworthy, so yeah. And
admittedly, this is coming from Lena's nightmare, right?
Yeah.
So, like, we all more than likely this is coming from the perspective of what Lena knows and not all of what Magica knows. So I guess you're right about that.
I really doubt that Lena was going to get her freedom if Magica got everything she wanted. I don't think Magica would fully keep her word. I don't trust her at all. She's not exactly what I call honorable.
Well, what I do find interesting is the whole relationship between Lena and Magica, especially culminating in that final sequence. In the past, I think we've referred to it as sort of an abusive relationship type of thing. And, like, seeing how Magica, even after freeing herself from Lena, but continues to harass her and, like, manipulate her words, turning Webby against her and, like, hey, like, this is irony, right? Because didn't you use her like a puppet? So, like, even though Magica is actually the puppeteer, so to speak, but, like, she's doing a good job of beating down Lena verbally to the point where Lena she's trying to get Lena to believe that she's the one who's doing the wrong things in this situation, and that it's all her fault. And, like, I enjoyed that sequence because it's kind of a really good depiction of what a bad parent's daughter, or in this case aunt's niece relationship ends up feeling like sometimes. Like, they just use their words to twist it around on you.
Yeah.
And that makes the tension of that scene just get all the more ramped up, and how amazing it was in the moment.
Well, Magica, she's a horrible parent, man. She is as bad as Ozai. She is as bad as Preston Northwest. It's just terrible.
Yeah, I mean, she seems to be the only clear-cut villain that is actually successful in this show so far.
Well, some others have come close, though.
Yeah, close. And, like, you have guys like Lomgold or Mob Eagle that, like, are more or less competent at times, but, like, also they still veer towards jokiness. But, like, Magic is just pure evil, especially in this episode.
And the funny thing is, though, she wasn't. Could be funny at times in the original show, so they've kind of really taken her character a whole new direction here.
Although she's not unfunny either in this episode, because, like, she does do like the fake Webby voice during that time.
Like I said, she definitely gives me Bill Cipher vibes because she is so scary, so evil and dangerous, but yet still has a bit of a comedic side to her too.
Yeah. In this case, comedy being derived from fear is probably a good descriptor of how Magica's character works. But this episode, just going through, like, other small stuff here. Lena and Magica are arguing while Lena's trying to take Scrooge's dime while Scrooge is sleeping. So like, but like somehow Lena manages to convince Webby like, no, it's because I'm obsessed with him, like you, and like gets Webby to do this long presentation and stuff. So this is very Webby, as established from the beginning of the show. Scrooge does notice that something is off and moves the dime to the other bin, and eventually we take a look at the other bin and it has all weird stuff. This is essentially what the garage from the pilot was, right? Because like in the garage, I remember in the pilot, like the garage is where he kept all the magic stuff, but it seems that now the other bin is where he keeps all his magic stuff. Did you get anything out of the other bin, or?
Well, I do get like one of the rooms was an homage to the Scrooge's worry room, which he had on the old show. He had in the comics this room where he just, when he was worried, he's stressed out, he just walk around in circles in this room. A funny little gag. My ear is a little more dark, but yeah.
Yeah, because the worry room is actually the room where the dime is in the dream.
Yeah.
Right? So so that's an interesting turn.
Yeah. But like I said though, it's interesting though how close though Scrooge is. Can he sense that maybe Magica is closing in? Does he even remember her? I mean, what is Scrooge's relationship with Magica? I can't wait to find out.
Who knows? Because also in this episode, like he says, like something's afoot, but like it ends up being just him following the Bigfoot around, right?
I don't know.
I don't think that he actually sensed Magica here.
I think that's just a coincidence. I think the Bigfoot wasn't after his dime, so he's very protective of his dime. That's one of his most prized possession outside of his family. So. And by the way, that could be a big key, though. I've seen this before. If he fears like his loved ones are in danger, he might just give up the dime to protect them. Make his own deal with Magica, who again I don't trust to keep her word.
Mm-hmm. And especially the next episode kind of continues the theme of Scrooge building relationships with his nephews. So like that could definitely come into play at some point.
And I do have a hot take about Ma Beagle, but that has to do with the next episode.
Yeah, I mean, Ma Beagle didn't show up at all, so I don't even think you can make a hot take out of that from here. But just before we move off this episode, we did briefly mention the B plot. It's not Bigfoot; his name is Tenderfeet, according to Louis. But it turns out that Louis ends up being jealous of Tenderfeet because the other nephews take a liking to him. I wrote down this line here in the middle, like, simple-minded. He's making a sandwich on a panini press. So, but because of how goofy the show is, you think, like, okay, well, that's just a goofy thing the Bigfoot does. Mm-hmm. But then we get the twist that Tenderfoot is actually conning them, and he's talking like a bro. He's group chatting with his other Bigfoot friends.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you think in general about this?
That's fine. I'm kind of hoping, though, maybe once Tenderfeet, this doesn't work out, and then the next place he's going to try is Glomgoat's place. Let's see him try to con Glomgoat.
That's definitely a premise for a Disney short they'll probably put on YouTube at some point.
Yeah, too bad this show does not have, like, end credit stingers like other shows do, so there's a downside about that. But, yeah, it's a fine plot. But the problem is I'm really invested in the Lena Magica stuff. That it's just like, let's get back to that. This bores me compared to that. Get back to the good stuff. I mean, we're going to find it's a B plot for another episode. That's
fair. Although I don't think DuckTales really wants to go beyond, like, I feel like every episode has the A plot and the B plot, so like no episode really has wanted to veer away from that and always wants to keep the goofy side of stuff.
I don't know. The McDuck Manor seemed to have one plot. So did the that golf episode seem to really focus on one plot? So
But the golf episode was a very goofy one
oh,
throughout. But like
so
also,
same thing with the
I agree
Golden
that
Guild episode. That was also one plot. So
okay, you're fine. You got me. There are a couple of episodes that do manage to stay focused, but so in that case, it makes more sense that this episode maybe should have been a bit more focused. But they really wanted that Bigfoot B plot.
I'm just kind of saying, though, I kind of wanted the Bigfoot to interact with Donald. I wanted to see that. That would have been hilarious. I want to see who could understand. I want to see who has a harder time understanding who.
Yeah, once again, there is no Donald in either of these episodes, so we have been robbed yet again. But we'll get to him someday. Yeah.
Well, he had two great moments the last podcast with the whole being locked in the pantry and the whole pen thing. So I guess we need a little break.
Yeah. Now, Disney always does the thing of pairing an important plot episode with another like all joke episode, and we kind of got that because the other bin is relevant to the overarching plot that we've had this season, whereas the other episode, Sky Pirates in the Sky, is kind of like just Sky Pirates. Yeah.
Well, like I said though, they're not. They're not as fun as the Pink Skulls, but they're still pretty cool in their own way.
This is this is a episode starring Captain Don Carnage, voiced by Jamie Camel, from more famous for Jane the Virgin these days. But he was brought in to replace Jim Cummings, who voiced this character back in the 80s, early 90s.
Poor Jim Cummings. First, Boxman goes away, and now this. Oh my God. Yeah.
Do not worry about Jim Cummings. He's busy out the wazoo. But yeah. So like this character, I think the voice is fine. Like I don't care about that. But I like that at first that they're giving off the whole musical pirates vibe, and they still manage to rob the plane anyway. But I do enjoy the brief moment where he throws the guy off the plane and like is berating his crew. So like he gives him a little bit of edge to accompany the vaudevillianness.
I also wanted the show went dark for a moment, and the guy had a parachute. Everyone has a parachute here, and we don't ever see it. Like, what's up with that?
Yeah. And he didn't really let it go, and we didn't see him activate the parachute. So like once you're close to the ground, I think at some point if you get too close, activating it doesn't actually do anything.
I still say though, working for Don Carnage, he's probably treats you better than Ma Beagle treats her own sons, because at least he gives you on occasion positive reinforcements, and he will give you group hugs. I don't think Mom Beagle will ever give group hugs to her families, to her son. So
now we do have to consider context, because he was kicked out of his own crew, and so he was doing all that to get back into the good graces. So I'm not totally sure that was genuine, but it worked.
You know what I love though? I love one-legged Meg, or what's her Meg, the first.
Yeah.
And they said she had her number. She called herself. She was the first mate, so which means she's the first one to meet Don Carnage of the whole crew. So there's a story there. I kind of want to know more about that.
She and other female pirates were voiced by Kimberly Brooks, who also does voices for Steven Universe and Voltron. So it was nice to see her name in the credits. But so the pirates I think are fine. I'm a little annoyed by the plot of being Dewey feeling ignored, because a lot of episodes have to do with Dewey.
I know,
and him being the center of attention. So it feels
do you know
very entitled.
Did you know he is the only character in the series to appear in every episode, and he has lines in every episode except for one. So.
That doesn't surprise me. But yeah, it feels weird that he's the one. Wouldn't Huey be more inclined to do this? Yeah. Because I feel like Huey's the one who gets sidelined the most in this show.
The problem, and the thing is though, we just had the Day the Only Child a few weeks ago that dealt with the same Dewey middle child syndrome, and we have this here again. I mean, is that his only character flaw? His character trait, middle child syndrome?
Yeah, so like it's just Dewey. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
he's been good in other episodes, but like this episode, like they're trying to get me to sympathize with him. I think, and I just don't get it. Like the at one point where Scrooge mistakes Dewey for one of the other nephews because they got splashed with blue paint.
This
like
is
it's a sad point, but at the same time, like you can help out. Don't walk away.
You know what though? This is why I'm kind of disappointed Michelle's not here, because this is the one thing she can relate to, because she still get them mixed up, and yeah, and we've seen Scrooge been like this before. And he barely knew Webby until a couple episodes ago. And she's like the only girl of the kids, so
right. But also like wasn't it like the second episode where it was Scrooge and Dewey like going into a cave together and they bonded there. So like they've had their bonding episodes. So, which is why.
And also, the Scrooge Dewey bonding episode was the golf episode too. So.
Yeah, so it just feels strange that like the at the end, like the emotional like bow is like, oh, okay, well, tell me your story, I'm listening now, like as if like that's kind of an improvement, but it's not really, because Scrooge and Dewey have already gotten development. Like I just like there's nothing particularly wrong with this episode, but it's just like Dewey. We've had a lot already. We need more of the other brothers. Like I would have been fine if this was 2 Louis episodes.
Yeah, Louis like probably my favorite of the triplets.
Yeah, and I think Louis in that last episode, like he was justified in his behavior. So I would have given him a pass here as well if he got ignored in that episode. So like, what if he got ignored in this episode too? It'd be like a nice trend sort of thing. I don't know.
Well, he learned a valuable lesson. Webby showed her smart how she played a little trick on him, and you said she wasn't very smart.
Oh yeah, that is a part of the B plot of this episode. That like Louis has a gem that supposedly shows your innermost desires. I do like that it wasn't totally like I think he referred to him as a devil Louis, but I like that at some point he like since in real life Louis is very ambitious, so like the gem Louis was very timid, like, oh no, we shouldn't be doing that. So I like that it didn't go straight to good evil, but like more just it actually stuck to opposites or deepest thoughts more.
Don't go soft on me, evil Louis.
Yeah. So like he refers to it like that. And it ends up working against him briefly. How did you feel about the musical numbers in this episode? Because honestly, I can't remember them already. Like I watched this yesterday. It's already escaped my head.
No, it's all right. The problem for me though, it's the same weekend as the Teen Titans Go to the movie, and that has such a catchy song in that. So. It's the cost of it's bad timing.
This is a very strained promotion for the Teen Titans Go to the Movies podcast. We have an overly animated.
But that's how I felt though. It just didn't have the same like oomph. It's got lost in the shuffle for me. But like I said, and it had so many lyrics. That's the problem. It doesn't really have much of a chorus. It's like so much stuff to remember. So. But I do love Lodgepack's little how he was a fan of. He like do 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 do.
Yeah, the one thing that I was happy about with DuckTales, like if there was one thing I had to pick out of DuckTales these past 2 weeks, Launchpad is still great. It's like he only appears in small doses, but whenever he shows up, he gives me good humor. So like I enjoyed him being very happy with the song, and then also like him just noticing, oh wait, who's driving the plane? And like he's down there singing like the plane crashes.
I believe this is like the first musical number in the show. I'm not sure if we had one before, unless you want to count Mark Beeks and all his antics. But because Mark Beeks is on his own thing, so let's not really count him. But yeah, that's the one thing. The way I was able to differ this show from the Legends of Three Caballeros is that in that world, is musicals are common, and here it's like if you go into song, you're weird. So
yeah, I do also enjoy Scrooge's incredulousness of like, what in the blazes was that? Or something like that.
Yeah.
So, I was with him. I was just like, what did I just watch? But
It
at the same
worked.
time, yeah, I mean, it worked. They ended up robbing him blind, no matter what. And, so the basic stuff is Dewey joins the pirate crew. He ends up inspiring them to do a mutiny, and then Dewey ends up leading another robbery of the plane as Don Carnage is dressed up with the Scrooge and the nephews, and fighting ensues, and they switch over.
Wasn't a very good disguise, though. Only Don Carnage's own crew fell for that disguise. And maybe Launchpad, but...
Yeah, Launchpad probably, too. So that they end up realizing that Dewey was feeling ignored and stuff. Yeah. Also, that hat is not worth the story. At the end, he says, it maybe happens. In the end, that even makes it worse because it's are you complaining because people don't really feel like hearing an embellished story? Is that the source here?
You sure it's embellished? Is he really the chosen one of that tribe? I kind of wonder if that's going to come into play later on, or is that just...
It's not, because he admits some stuff is true. So that means that not all of it is true. It's what? Why are you such a baby about this? Is my reaction.
And yeah, I've been Dewey out because also the last series of shorts we've been getting is also Dewey centric. It's all Dewey all the time.
Yeah. So in summary, too much Dewey. Give us more of the other nephews,
especially
please.
Donald. Give me more Donald.
Yeah, or give us Donald.
He's a professional. He knows how to just overstay his welcome.
Well, Dewey's overstated.
Yeah, I know.
That's for sure.
I know. But if you're gonna focus on a DD character, focus on Donald Duck. You ever notice though? You know how many DD characters are in this show? It was Dewey, Doofus, Donald, Della, with initials DD, so it's...
Yeah. Now...
I know.
Okay. Before we come out here, let me raise this hypothetical to you. Is it possible that Sky Pirates is a better episode than Other Bin?
It depends, though. It depends how you guys... If you really are interested in the whole Magica Lena plot, because I love that plot. That's the plot that most interests me. So of course I'm going to pick that one. But if that plot is not your thing, I can understand someone feeling that way. So to each his own. I'm not going to just judge him, but I am going to say though, the way I say, I'm not as pumped up as the other people were when Don Carnage is going to be on the show. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like I said, it's not Daisy. It's not April, May, and June. It's not Captain Morgan. Those are the characters that would interest me a lot more. And of course, some of the characters are coming soon. I really can't wait to see much more than Don Carnage. I won't mention who they are, but you know who they are.
Okay, before I give my opinion, there was a character called Captain Morgan.
It's a character from the comics.
Okay.
She's a leader of the female version of Junior Woodchucks, the Chippedees.
It's a she.
Yes, it's a she. Yeah, and I think but that probably won't happen because the Junior Woodchucks, like I mentioned last podcast, they have girls in them. It's co-ed now. It's not like it was in the old days. And she was the leader of the Chickadees, Girl Scout team. That was sort of the female counterpoint to the Junior Woodchucks. And they had this rivalry. And you know what? If they were real, though, I thought it would be great, though, she could be sort of have a one-sided crush on Launchpad.
Okay. But I just wanted to point out that in an episode where we're talking about pirates, there's apparently a character called Captain Morgan. All right,
she's a captain in the army. The army,
it's a different kind of captain.
Yeah,
all right.
Those comic that comic came out in around the 50s, shortly after World War II, and different time. I maybe should buy you some volumes of Card Bank comics.
Thanks. Just in regards to the original question of is there a case for Sky Pirates being a better episode than Other Bin? I think that there is. As you mentioned, a lot of this hinges on how much you care about the Magic Alina storyline, and I do. So like, I think that in the end, the Other Bin still ends up being a better episode than Sky Pirates. But at the same time, like I struggle because Other Bin like felt so tropey at times. It makes some decisions at the end that are very baffling at the time, where Sky Pirates was very creative. The musical number was interesting to watch, and like there are a lot more jokes, I think, in that episode.
I'm going to give you this, so I'm going to admit, though, I think Other Bin and Scrooge McDuck might have been maybe the most weakest of the Lena episodes, or at least second weakest.
That's possible.
And also,
I guess the other episodes we've done, we focused a lot more on building up Lena and Webby's relationship, whereas this one kind of put more of the focus on Lena and Magica, and that's kind of the thing we wanted all along, I suppose.
And also, it's making more clear that Lena she does care about Webby. Like, in the earlier episodes, you weren't sure. There was some air of mystery, like, is this all an act? But now, as the mystery is getting solved, it kind of loses a bit, I guess. That could be what the situation is.
Maybe. Although, obviously, we're waiting for whatever climax there is where Lena reveals how much she cares about Webby and stuff.
And I forgot to mention, this episode, though, I love how when Lena came out of her, like, nightmare, Webby said another, like, thing of something like, "Wake up, your beautiful angel," or something like that. In the last episode, before that, she's called her, like, "You beautiful idiot," or something. Like, this show knows what it's doing with its ship teases.
Yeah, teasing, I think, is a correct term for it. I will say, just in terms of Lena episodes, I do think that this is still a better episode than Jaws. Like, Jaws, I think, has issues of its own. Like, Other Bin, it brings up important things. And I do want to stress, like, it does a good job with the Lena Magica relationship. Like, I do think that's a very interesting dynamic to watch. And that whole build up in the final scene, like that is, it does a really good job of getting you to feel like this is for serious, but it's just the other stuff that happens afterwards that ends up kind of taking away the effect. But I think in the end, it ends up being a net positive episode.
You know what though? Sorry. Yeah, you're right. But I just realized something though. When Webby kind of encounters Lenica, Magica is able to say, though, Lena will be trapped in there. She can't defend herself. So if Magica just wants to say, "Oh, my niece, she's just been using you the whole time. She doesn't care about you." And Lena's like, she's stuck. She can't respond and just say that's not true. So kind of wonder, man, what's going to happen if that happens? It's like, is Webby still going to believe in Lena or not?
So yeah, I think that's about all we've got today on these two episodes. If you want to find out all the info on this podcast, you can do that at overlyanimated.com. If you want to chat with us about the latest episodes of DuckTales or any other animated television and film we cover here, you can do that at overlyanimated.com/discord. You also support us via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to all of our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Joanna, aka Crispy. And thanks as always to our Patreon executive producers, John, Ryan, Steve, Andy, and Hugh. Other than DuckTales, we've also got some recent podcasts on Anastasia. As we mentioned, Teen Titans Go to the Movies. Soon we'll be doing podcasts on other shows.
Marcus Ladybug, maybe
Voltron for sure.
Oh yes,
soon.
Are you part of that?
So maybe, I don't know, but there are a lot of shows that we cover here in Overly Animated. You can always catch up on that as well as previous DuckTales podcasts. But yeah, until the next batch of episodes, we'll be here to talk about them. But until then, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. Adios.
All right, bye.